share. It means a lot, and I thank you for that. I look forward to what we will do, the havoc we will wreak, the victories we shall squander, and the failures we will rejoice. And for the record, this is Soup City Sins, Season 12, Episode 4, Familiar as Names. For those of you who may not remember where we left our coterie, it was with the very real task laid before them, the very real request of their time, efforts, and energies to track down the dread pirate Nash, the center of the storm that has raged across their landscape, near enough to be visible and far enough away to believe that it was someone else's problems for months. From his board-up company being responsible for sealing away certain processing plants where Lucio found himself no longer amongst the living, to his predilections for making people disappear being one of the focal points why the Anarchs raised ungodly hell at the Dalton Disco, to his penchant for being far less careful than one should when exsanguinating accidentally and incidentally the innocence of the city, drawing the attention of Redwood and the machinations of Ballard, which lured in Clyde, who inadvertently, in the course of his actions and duties across the city, exposed the Painted Lady to the attentions of their betters, of the government itself. To the focal point of his actions resulting in Arsenio being nearly destroyed. To the very real fact that, much like a stone cast into a calm body of water, the ripples of his actions affected campuses all over the city because of his prey, because of his choice in victims. If rumors are to be believed, and the clues followed from all of the wealth of information left in his wake, it could very well be stated and believed that he is also responsible for the disappearance of Honor Mercer, a vaunted, loved, well-heeled child of money from Milwaukee. His actions, purposeful, incidental, and accidental, have led to chaos and fallout nearly every step of the way for the coterie, for the shelter. And now, in this moment, they have the opportunity to pursue him like the criminal of their souls, hearts, and minds that he is. So we open our mind's eye to the shelter's meeting room. The shelter, the coterie, not the shelter, the building, though they're both mutually inclusive in this particular case. At the table inside the boarded up hospital portion of the shelter, ensconced with the table round and well used, nicked and scarred from various things, including the moment when Blue made himself known the very first time to the coterie as a whole, where the quarter burned a small portion of the table, to the perfume bottle left by Simone, to the bag of camera lenses and notes taken from various haunted places from Clyde, to Julian Orm's Bible, which sits on the bookcase on the other side of the room. There's a lot that has happened tonight, and a lot more that is in the offing. What are the plans for moving forward? How best might the coterie accomplish the task so that it is the dread pirate Nash's head in the guillotine and not theirs.
Lucio looks to Sophia and asks, Sophia, do you still have that ring I gave you?
I thought that you had taken it back from me, actually.
Did Lucio?
Somebody did, because Hestia didn't want me to have it, I think.
I retract my previous statement then. Lucio pulls out the ring that he had taken back from Sophia. And he says to everyone gathered, before the last encounter with Vivi, I told her I had some information about her brother. We also have this. And he pulls out the ring. Now, with Clyde gone, who's to say that maybe it was Nash who was the one who killed Vivi's brother?
This seems like it is an easy enough spin to do. She does not know the truth of it, so you can put any face you want on her killer.
Well, we don't know what she's figured out. But it's, at the very least, Nash is responsible, at least indirectly, for Dizzy's death. That alone would be enough to get Vivi to hunt him down, but if we can tie it to her brother's death, then it's all but assured.
Perhaps, like I said before, it is probably best to kill two birds with one stone. Do you know any way to contact Vivi?
I believe I have her number.
Well, that would uncomplicate matters quite a bit.
That is, if she hasn't switched phones by now.
There is only one way to find out.
While I would love to tie it all together and have them take each other out, the thing is, we need to take out Nash and have proof that we took out Nash, and we need to get him to confess, quote unquote, before anything goes down. So sending Vivi after him, while fun, is not conducive to getting that confession.
Which is why we swoop in and save Nash. We catch Vivi, the rogue that we were already hunting, and suddenly we're back in Nash's good graces. And then we can just take a trip down to the nearest metro again, get him a little blood drunk, and who knows what secrets he'll spill then. He's not exactly a careful kindred, if you haven't noticed. I'm sure it'll be easy to get him to spill it. We just have to convince him that we mean it, that we are his friends.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that we hope Vivi doesn't go in all... What's that movie? Say hello to my little friend, that shit. Inigo Montoya, that's it.
I do not think that is right.
Inigo Montoya was attempting to avenge his father.
That's what I'm saying. So we don't want her to do that with her brother and go in shooting.
If the last encounter was anything to go by, I don't think that's what she'll do. She had Redwood in her sights, but she wanted us to go in. That being said, she has been rather guns blazing with the Hecata's forces, so maybe it's a toss-up.
See, the difference, I think, between Redwood and the Hecata is the Hecata are all kindred. They could survive a couple bullets. Redwood's human, or problem.
So, not to point out the obvious, but could someone explain what is going on from the beginning like I'm a 3-year-old?
Lucio looks to Miriam and realizes, I am very sorry. I forgot. Where do we begin?
Hestia kind of raises her hand. I think I can do this. Okay. So, stay with me. She gets
Miriam
closer
will
to
lean
him. Okay. So, what happened first that we recently found out is there is a pirate king named Nash. He is one of us. And the fact that he's kindred, not part of the Coterie. That's that. I befriended him a while ago, not realizing what the fuck he was up to. But comes to find out, he's been kind of sloppy with his feeding situation. He goes to this club, finds people, drains them instead of taking a little sip, and just leaves them willy-nilly.
Which club is this?
The Metro? Metro. It's over there near that place over there.
Would Miriam have heard of this place?
The Metro is a mecca for music acts and live concerts. It is one of the few non-majorly aligned and affiliated concert houses in Chicago. It's about a stone's throw from Wrigley Field. It's a smack dab at the edge of the Wrigleyville area and is up the street from a police bar, a cop bar, and down the street from the last roller rink in the entirety of the city. It is a mecca, and Smart Bar is its speakeasy, cool spot where the people go after hours who are everyone who's anyone.
So, the short answer is yes. Got it. Alright. Continue.
So he goes there. He's kind of uncareful. In the course of this whole situation of him being uncareful, Redwood's daughter, who was quite young and illegally got into the bar, as far as we can tell, went there one night, met up with Nash, and did not make it home. Somehow her dad found out how that happened, and he went on a revenge crusade against the kindred.
As
And
one
because he
does.
was a tech genius, he got a lot of information he shouldn't have had, and he's been torturing kindred for the past 10 years or so at his home. But recently, decided, I guess, blackmail was going to happen, and he was going to tell everybody about us. Higher up kindred, we kind of know who did it, but kind of, I don't know for sure. We have an idea of who, but they were kind of helping him out to blackmail us all for whatever fucked up reason they had. But there you go with that. So basically what happened is we found out about the blackmailer. We went and stormed his building. In the process of storming his building, we lost 2. Or would have lost 2 if Vivi hadn't happened. Vivi used to be a ghoul belonging to our friend Dizzy, who is no longer with us, who we lost in the storming of that building. To get information and try to stop the blackmailer, which we were supposed to do as hounds, because that's, I guess, what the fuck we do. Lost Dizzy, Vivi was made. She decided she wanted revenge on us, kinda, because she was mad about Dizzy. And the person that was blackmailing people, she found out about Redwood, traced him back, and set us up so that we were supposed to take him out, but then she was also shooting at us at the same time. It was really fucked up.
It sounds like a marvelous adventure that I'm starting to get a bigger picture here.
Yeah, so then there was that, and then at the same time, she's not quite a fan of the other Hakata families because she thinks they had something to do with her brother's missing. Her brother, who she loved very, 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 very much and would have given her life for. So, in retaliation of this, again, the vengeance thing she likes to do, she started attacking churches and other places of Hakata business, and then we caught the bullshit behind it because we didn't stop her, we didn't know she was doing it, and it could have caused an out-and-out war with the Hakata themselves, which the council apparently has a deal with. Looking to Sophia. Correct so far?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, so yeah, we have a deal with them that there's not to fight each other and shit went sideways with Vivi going out shooting at people and killing a lot of
To be fair,
tied humans.
we have an agreement to not interfere in each other's affairs. Personal vendettas is a completely different sort of area.
Fair, but because she was tied to us loosely at one point through Dizzy and just us having her around, it came back on us. Kind of like shit spray when it hits the fan, you know, that kind of whole thing. So we're having to deal with this whole situation now because she was made without permission and she's running amok. At the same time of having to deal with Nash, who is also breaking the masquerade and not being careful and become a problem. I think that's pretty much everything, right?
I think that about covers it, yes.
Miriam will nod and she will have the appearance of taking it all in, perhaps realizing something herself, most notably that she is probably fucked. But she will look up, it's like, okay, you said he's a pirate? Pirates like tattoos, yes?
He probably does, actually.
That's what I do.
Well,
She's also really, really into hot chicks, so...
Also, what I do.
well, not to beat an aphorism like the dead horse that it is. But at this juncture, with Hesha having spoken for the Coterie and left everything that they find pertinent on the table, is this the moment that Miriam returns the exchange? There are several points throughout that long, sordid, highlighted history. Several months ago, the Painted Lady herself was beset by kindred. She was frantic, she was frenzied, she was at the end of her rope, and it resulted in several instances of breach-worthy incidents that needed to be covered up. Several weeks afterwards, there was a paranoia through the shop. She focused on making sure she was as unassailable as possible. Several weeks after that, there was a focus on the Malkavians, specifically Newberry and his counseling group, his therapy group. And throughout the midst of this, there were several board-up company trucks that visited the shop. Several conversations had hurriedly and hushedly at the front door.
She will lean forward thoughtfully and lean back, almost resigned. Like, what do you know at the Painted Lady?
You mean the Mona Lisa?
The one that's a little closer to home.
Is this a bar?
Of sorts. A very exclusive members only type bar? Club.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, that Sophia will shoot a glance to Sylvia that says, "Why don't I know about this? Get on it."
He shrugs and quietly raises his left sleeve, showing the ink work that he'd had done several upon several decades removed from this moment. Those of you paying attention would notice that in the entire time that you all have known of Silvio, he has never removed his shirt, which is an odd thing considering you were in his home and had seen him preparing for the evening. He doesn't remove his shirt. He rarely removes his jacket, let alone the vest beneath. He's always armed, and it's really easy to see him as simply a dark-suited shadow over Sophia's shoulder.
I will stand up and move to inspect the artwork.
There was a technique developed roughly about 40 years ago and perfected roughly 30, where the ink moves in a small pouch, but just beneath the second or third layer of skin, where it responds to heat and light, and it has a life of its own. It's something that, well, was pioneered here in Chicago, and it's rarely done because of the risks to the people involved. But for those who are hardy enough, those who are supernatural enough, it is a classic step forward in being able to ensure that the dead flesh is able to hold the ink.
I'm just going to smile at him. It's like, Did she do this one, or was it one of the apprentices?
You recognize the signature, and you know who did it. The person who is currently on the lam, as it were. The person who has gone missing because of everything that's shaken loose in the city.
I will continue to beam at him. It's like, that's very exclusive, you realize.
Yeah, we all got our past.
One day I would love to hear the story. And I'll pull out my card. It's like, do you have one? Or was that just a guest invite?
We have an arrangement. At least we did have an arrangement. This is... Chicago's not the only place where the lady herself has made appearances.
Oh. Stories. I'm going to enjoy the story, I bet. Alright. So it seems we have a mutual problem. The patron I was talking about earlier? He knows her.
Well, knowing and knowing are two different things, but yeah, she's a friend of the family, at least she used to be.
She's not in the wind because of Wolseek, is she?
Doubtful. She'd probably eat them, which they both enjoy. You know, we got a penchant for the weird.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And he looks at the gathered audience as his look one of questioning whether sharing that not so open secret would be appreciated or if it's allowed.
All I know is we watched Zidane shove his fist into his wife's chest, pull out her heart, and take a bite out of it. So, if it's anything worse than that, I don't want to know about it. Thank you.
That's a good way to be. That's all I gotta say. His current wife is not his first, and probably won't be his last as far as things are concerned.
Well, since he's made her like him, I don't know if that would go over well. He'd probably have to kill her first.
You say this as if this is a problem. I don't know. And then he looks at Sophia and gets quiet.
The interesting thing about seeking knowledge is that sometimes you find it that is actually the worst thing. And she'll clap her hands together to try to lighten the mood and put a smile on and go, but we can all agree that he is a total bastard. So back to this Nash and Vivi.
So, Miriam, did you have some idea? You mentioned something that the painted lady might be able to help, or that you might have learned something that could help us.
I can use possibly a network of devotees of hers to put out feelers of where he might be. Or I could just straight up give him, an invitation to my shop for some artwork.
Is Nash in hiding?
I
Didn't
don't
think
know.
he was the type.
There is
Probably not
a
unless
shelf.
he's figured out we're looking for him. Or that somebody's looking for him.
There's also a shelf lift on this particular task that you have been assigned. So, how long would it take for the message to get passed to the right ears before he showed up?
A direct invitation would probably be better then.
Well, if anyone knows how to get a hold of him, then.
There's a bar that he kind of frequents. It's run down, kind of scummy place. We've been there a couple times. You know the bar I'm talking about.
Crook's north side is a hive of scum and villainy of all stripe of kindred relations, whether there's the full-fledged, full-blooded, unlighted kindred such as yourselves, or those hangers-on who have been made aware, the ghouls, the retainers, and those somewhere in between. There's also a known information brokerage. People disappear there to trade in various bits of this and that towards their own ends. And despite its less than savory reputation, it is a well-known location to find certain less than legally minded kindred and humans and various other entities of the dark.
Well, that seems like a place to start then.
So the question remains, shall we go find Nash now, or do we wait until we get in touch with Vivi? My money would be probably we should find Nash first before we have Vivi find him and off him before we can do anything.
Wouldn't it be convenient if she just happened to show up at my shop too?
Very convenient. Storyteller, do we know? Because I know we had a timeline for Vivi, which was like a month, right? And then Nash was a week, or am I wrong?
Nash is the most time sensitive. Vivi is on your plate, but you have not been assigned that task from the government.
So yeah, Nash has to be first.
Alright. Who wants to go to Crux tonight?
What is this?
What is what?
This crux.
It is a wretched hive of scum and villainy that Nash is 9 times out of 10 going to go to if he wants to go to a bar.
Sophia makes a bit of a face but doesn't say anything.
Oh, it is very much that, and so much more. The image that Sophia has of Crooks is the Star Wars cantina, filled with strange-looking individuals rotting away their insides with fluids of various purities, none of which rises to the actual definition of pure. Once they arrive at Crooks, it is far worse than any of the fantastical puppets she imagined. It is far worse than any of the costumed individuals hanging and loitering and exchanging words and languages that make no sense to anyone but themselves. It is worse by a measure of degrees that makes her undead skin crawl. Seldom has Sophia been the princess of the Hakata to the Coterie, but in the fact that upon the door opening, she has to pause and brace herself, it is very much clear that the workaday blue collar and less of the crowd does not agree. For Miriam, these are her people. These are the tattooed, the dirty, the uncaring, those who care only about their skin art. These are the people who would give their right eye tooth to know they have the opportunity of getting fresh ink. If there was a choice between eating, screwing themselves into oblivion, or going under the needle, they'd go under the needle every time. For Hestia and Lucio, this brings back memories. Very potent and mentally scarring memories. It was here that Hestia gained the friendship of Sylvia. It was here that Lucio had the opportunity and pleasure of running afoul of McTavish. It was here that the coterie that existed had their last relative victory. It was here where Dizzy unleashed the full might of their presence, the oral might that they carried within them. It was here the last time they saw End. Alex. It was here where the end of what was solidified itself into the beginning of what is. It's just as dark. It's just as depressing. It's just as stench-filled of spilled whiskey and tears. It is just as filled with the residue of smoke. The stains making the ceiling a beautiful goldenrod color. And the bartender, as warily as always, watching those who enter. And to think, Hestia spared a bit of her status as hound, exiting with Nash on her arm, proffering by association a bit of legitimate status on the man who had been shunned, the kindred who had been outcast but allowed to hang around. So as the pop hit plays in the background,
Sophia will exchange a glance with her bodyguard and take a deep breath and follow everyone else around, I guess.
One quick question, actually. Is Arsenio well enough to be joining us on this?
His answer would always be yes. And even with, bullet wounds taking typically 6 to 8 weeks for a ghoul, that's, 3 to 4. And it's been roughly approximately that amount of time since the initial wounding and his dance with death. So very long, roundabout way. Yes, if you so wish.
I'm actually going to tell him to take it easy tonight and to get some more rest. I don't want him straining himself. And then the other quick point of order is Lucio is making sure to bring his the hand cannon with him to this place. And he's also bringing a recording device with him on the off chance that it becomes useful. If we need a confession, that's definitely the way to get it.
And every day, the wily, duplicitous nature of your blood grows closer to the surface. That's exactly what your father might suggest doing. That's exactly what your half-brother most assuredly would do. You remember back in high school, him copying off a test and signing your name at the top of it. The fact that he studied how to sign your name and make it believable so that neither test was valid was admirable. If only he could have used what little intellect he had for any semblance of good. So as you all saunter in, like the lords and ladies of the land that you all are, as hounds, there is no eye that doesn't flit in your direction. As hounds of note, there is no ear that doesn't slightly turn as you pass to catch a snippet of your conversation. Because everything has use, everything has value, and nothing has more indeterminate and potentially high value than gossip, something let slip, knowing which way the wind blows, who you might be here for, what you might be here for. All of those things could be utilized by someone, and their value could be exponentially unbelievable.
As we walk through to find a place to sit, I'm sure there are more than a handful of people that Miriam would greet or at least wave at, having done some sort of work on them. More people may recognize her with her 1 point of fame in the body modification industry. So, attracting attention.
There's always something good to be had about being the subject of idle gossip, being the focus of attention. There's always something that is worthwhile, some small bit of realization, whether someone openly greets you with a wave or a head nod, or someone turns away because they may have a debt that is unpaid. All of those telltale signs of the living and undead continuing in much the same paths of action, the habitual. They're just people who refuse to pay their bills, whether they have the money for it or not. So as you all settle toward the back of the place, giving yourself a view of the side entrance as well as the front door, there's an uncomfortable bit of deja vu for Lucio and Hestia. For Sophia, there's an uncomfortable bit of these clothes must be burned afterwards. There's no way that you will get that stench out of the fabric. And for Miriam, there's a certain comfort being amongst the herd, an invisibility, a camouflage. She doesn't stand out. She's not all that memorable despite her beauty and fame, because these people are very much the crowd that would generally be all over themselves. People will be getting up, offering drinks, and various other things, small packages that could be used to purchase this, that, or the other. But because of her association, her nearness to two well-known hounds. Two hounds which the rumors state have killed at least 4 members of the government. At least 4 permission have fallen to those guys. Oh my God, yes, that's them. Yeah, that's them. That's the shelter. And you hear it like a murmur of attentiveness, purposely trying to avoid notice, but by the fact of all the effort expended, the energy in the air, it is clear that they have failed at not being noticed by you all.
Hessia's focus is more on kind of looking for Nash and making sure that he doesn't spot them before they spot him. Because we don't know how he's going to react to seeing Hestia again, seeing as how the last time they had words and parted on angry terms. So
Sophia will look at everything with distaste and revulsion, tap her nails together and look at everyone else and go, "So, I have been to Rome, but what do we do here?"
I flag down a waitress and order whiskey.
Yeah, sure thing. We got patty. Or do you want to try one of the apple pie shots?
Whiskey is fine, thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. You want the 15 or the 25?
25.
You folks okay back here?
Anyone else want something?
Some sanitizer, perhaps?
You got any lagers?
Yeah. I think we still got a couple of bottles of Red Stripe. And sanitizer. I'm not familiar with that drink. We got a couple of tidy bowls already made. You want one of those?
A rag with some soapy water would be fine.
Oh, table sticky. I'm sorry about that. Benji was back here earlier. Never mind. I'll take care of it. So we got a patty 25. We got a Red Stripe, and you still want that tidy bowl, right?
Yes, she would love.
I'll have them put some fresh veggies in there for you. And she saunters away with a style and a flair that can only be described as lowbrow by osmosis. Because despite chewing like a cow with several cuds going at once, there was a brightness to her eyes. There was a wariness about you, but a willingness to trust in the basic social interaction of commerce. After all, everyone needs a drink every once in a while. Doesn't take her long before she's back, and just as Sophia feared, the idea of the tidy bowl is very much disgusting. There are 2 long, crazy straws stuck in what could best be described as a purposefully dirtied salad bowl. Swimming in the salad bowl are bits and chunks of lemons, limes, and an actual chocolate bar floating to make it appear as if it is, well, waste. The blue of the liquid inside almost burns the eye with the alcohol volume therein. It is clear for those who have had more than one night blackout drunk in any bar anywhere in the world that there is definitively grain alcohol, UV blue, and a mixture of every clear liquor they have. It looks exactly like it sounds. It's the tidy bowl from days of old when the blue of the water would make sure that no dog should drink from it. It looks like a toilet bowl, purposefully.
I'm going to glance at it and glance up at her. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it's one of our best sellers. The new girl, Cheryl, she brought the recipe in. We just called them Blue Hawaiians, but everybody got their own thing, and everybody likes the look of it. It really does look like a toilet, doesn't it? Look, that the Snickers idea was mine. It goes really well. You wouldn't think that chocolate would go well with grain alcohol, but it does. It's really, really good. You should make sure you save the chocolate for last. Take a big bite.
So, just a thought. What if instead of Snickers, you used a Baby Ruth?
Oh, you want it nice and chunky? That's a good idea.
You are certainly some sort of genius.
Hestia is watching this whole interaction with the biggest grin of entertainment on her face. She's watching it back and forth and just like trying not to laugh.
And then the moment of truth. The piece de resistance, the red stripe, and the patty's 25. Now, normally when someone asks age or, gives numbers when they're involving whiskey, it's the number of years that it's been aged. And the natural assumption is that that Patty's had been aged 25 years. Unfortunately, it's 2021 and Patty's has only been around 9 years. So the 25 doesn't make sense for those who know what Patty's is until you realize that when she sits down the whiskey, what everyone initially thinks is the red stripe having been poured into a pint glass is actually 16 ounces of 3-year-old commercially made, lightly flavored whiskey. It is enough in the glass to make every human within a half a block radius drunk by the scent of it. It is enough whiskey in the glass that it is technically, legally abuse. And the red stripe that is sat next to it has dust around the edges of the bottle. The dust significant because Red Stripe has not had a long neck bottle in nearly 40 years. And yet, sitting there next to the pint glass of Patty's is a long necked Red Stripe bottle. So let's see. That's you guys want to start a tab because the tidy bowl, the Patty's 25, and the red stripe. Oh, little lady, I didn't get anything for you. Do you want like a Shirley Temple or something?
Just smirk. She gives in return because she knows she's one of the older two sitting here. But look at her. Sure. Extra cherries, please.
Oh, sure thing. We'll make ours with a diet right. That's okay. We got tab too if you want.
The first thing sounds fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, the extra cherries, you want the juice too?
Yeah, make it good and red.
I got you now. And you want to start a tab?
That'd be great. I'll pull
Sure, yeah,
a
thank you.
card out of my thigh pouch and just slide it across the table.
Oh no, they don't like using the knuckle busters. You got any cash?
Sure, I've got some somewhere.
Okay, I'll get you started. And Shirley, okay, I'll be right back. The moment she disappears back to the bar, there is a resounding exhalation as it is clear that not only the waitress and the bartender and the few of the other cocktailers across the floor were watching the group of hounds and associates that entered, but most of the bar were as well. And despite their lowbrow nature and how they're perceived by the rest of the world, each and every last one of them understands you don't drink if you're conducting business. That would be foolish. You want to be altered when you're conducting business, which means that if you're not conducting business, a lot of them are safe. You're not here for anyone here. You are blunted instruments. Yes, things may pop off if you get too drunk, but that's easier to handle than someone about their business here amongst them. And she pops back over with the Diet Right Shirley Temple. And yes, it is nowhere near an actual Shirley Temple. Due to the caramel coloring of the Diet Right and the excess maraschino cherries and all of the juice, as well as more than a heaping handful of grenadine, the dark brown of the soda has taken on a nearly blood red color, with bips and blobs of the cherries bouncing along to the bubbles inside. It very much looks as if Hestia has a glass of the thickest, sweetest, most viscous blood that there could be. And she sits down happily. So, about that tap, whose name should I put on it?
I will slide a business card across the table. You can put it under mine.
All right, Dale, I got you. Anything else? You guys want some popcorn? It was made yesterday, so it's still pretty fresh. Lots of butter.
Maybe a bowl of nuts.
I gotcha. I gotcha. She bops back to the bar, leaving you guys in relative silence amongst yourselves. Where you sit with your view of both the side door and the front door, you're able to watch the bar slowly come back to more of itself. You're able to watch as, yes, there's still that same pickpocket that entertained Clyde. Well, no, that was Alex. I'm sorry. I described the wrong person. There's still the pickpocket, the bright red head at the front dancing with herself. There's still the couple who are engaged in a full-blown drug deal 2 tables away from where you are. The bartender is still skimming off the top of every drink that's being rung in. And the waitresses are still in various states of being completely and totally inebriated. In short, it's another fine night at Crook's. And all the time that you guys have visited and stuck your heads in and made sting attempts here at Crook's, you have never once had the opportunity of meeting the man, the myth, the legend himself, the vaunted Crook's, the Nosferatu who is to information brokers what Family Dollar is to superstores. And then you see him. Hestia knows him because he's been around for the last 20 plus years, making a name for himself and opening these Crook's locations as if they are franchise events. Grand openings, usually followed by grand closings, and moving to someplace a little more heavy on traffic, a little more willing to excuse the filth, the dirt, the grime. But there he is, easing from the trapdoor beneath the bar. He spots you all, adjusts his sunglasses, and pulls his hood tighter around his head as he makes his way over. Now, in the grand scheme of things, Nosferatu are nothing to write home about. They are all mangled or damaged by their curse. Crook, however, has been far luckier than most. He maintains the bulk of his nose. His face isn't too mangled where a hood or ill lighting might not hide it. But the need for his sunglasses everywhere he goes is endemic as to what horror awaits beneath those blue blockers that he wears over his eyes. Well. I saw you guys here a couple of months ago. It's good to see you all back. Where's the rest of your folks?
I'll shrug at him. It's like, I'm new.
Nah, you're not new, but I wasn't going to tell anybody.
I mean, new to these guys.
You're new to some. You know, I hear things. I see things. How's your old dame?
Still trying to sort things out.
Tell her to stop worrying. I'll bring the money over in the next couple of weeks.
I'll nod at him. She'll appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you know she don't really care about the money. It's just
True.
leverage. And who are you? He looks at Sophia up and down, staring at. Even though he's clearly greeting Sophia, he's looking at Silvio. You can tell that, unlike most who size him up quietly and without trying to attract his attention, Crook's full 5'1" of unknown potential stares Silvio up and down, almost weighing him and measuring him, judging mass density and looking for hidden weapons. It is such a ridiculously Napoleonic ideal that is almost laughable.
So, having shot Silvio a quick glance that says, "Why is this monstrosity of a drink still in my view?" She will look back to the Nosferatu with a winning smile and extend a hand, palm downwards, and say, "Sophia Ross."
Rossi, like Asti and Rossi, and he shakes your hand, and it feels as if someone's cat has broken free and is licking every inch of your hand. He shakes and, of course, holds too long, or at least that's what you're expecting for someone so short and so determined to make themselves seem bigger. But instead, he lets go in the perfect timing. Firm, direct, and almost businesslike in how there's no squeeze, there's no jingling or jangling of fingers, there's no sliding across the palm, there's no squeezing the meat between the thumb and forefinger. None of the usual offensively perverse tactics that men do when they believe the woman is all about them.
Something like that, yes.
So, I'm sorry for the lack of hospitality. Previously, I thought you guys were here for me. Now that I see you guys are willing to associate with various people, welcome the Crooks. It's so good to see you and meet you officially. Is there something that I might be able to help you with? And as he says that, Silvio removes the bowl from in front of Sophia and sits it in front of him. Oh, no, thank you. I've sampled it. It is to die for. It is an acquired taste, but the chocolate is surprisingly good.
We will take your word for that.
You should.
For obvious reasons.
No, not everybody has the gift of gab, but even a little discomfort is worth the taste. It's definitely a A1 thing. So, you guys don't come here too often, you bright and shinies. That's what I like to call you guys. You guys are bright and shiny. You attract a lot of attention. And you guys always look a little, out of place, a little uncomfortable. But I heard that you guys have been in front of the government with their bullseye set on you several hundred times now. So I'm taking it that you guys know how to play ball, and you wouldn't keep coming back if you didn't want something. So what is it that you fine, bright and shinies really want with old Crooksy?
Hestia kind of tilts her head and smiles. Well, now you've gotten curious as to why you thought we wanted you in the first place. Are you being a naughty boy?
Only in the best ways that make the most money. Everybody's got a hurt feeling about something. You're not doing your job and you're not being successful if people don't try to come for your crown.
Interesting. But no, actually looking for a friend. He might not remember that we're friends because he's a little mad at me right now, but we left together the last time I was here and I haven't seen him lately. I'm just checking in on him.
Well, you know, I know a lot of people, and sometimes they even know me.
It's funny because I would have sworn people would have been talking about this.
You know, things happen. Maybe we're not as eye-catching as people believe, but my suggestion, a little directness goes a long way. You know, I blackmail people for less.
I wouldn't say that you're a blackmailer too loud right now, because last person we took to court was a blackmailer, and they killed him.
Yeah, well, he didn't have the right dirt on the right people. I make no qualms. I do what I do to survive. Why do you think I bought all these bars from Nash to begin with?
Oh, so you do know who we're looking for.
You're looking for Nash? Why? That's yesterday's news.
I told you I'm checking on a friend.
Nash, a friend of yours.
Yeah, we left together last time. I'm pretty sure most of the people in the bar saw that.
You know, when you see what should be a car wreck, people dead, heads missing, cars flipped over, everything mangled up, and you eat alongside of it, and instead of having your heart jump out of your chest because you're seeing the horror that you will never live down, you see people standing outside the car talking, pointing, looking as if nothing's wrong, and the police sirens half a mile behind your head in your direction. That's kind of what the idea of you leaving with Nash and still being able to come back another night is. It's unbelievable. There's no way. Fucking lie. So if someone told me that a well-employed, legally responsible hound left with Nash and there was no altercation, Nash has been back since you last were here several hundred times, it'd be a little unbelievable.
She shrugs. Sometimes the truth is just very much that. It's funny because if I was to tell you a lie, it would probably sound more true than the truth. But that's the truth. We came in here looking for something. I ran into him. Words were exchanged in the friendliest of senses. He told me he was going to take me somewhere nicer to party. Linked up our arms and we sauntered on out of here.
Yeah, I didn't believe it then. I still kind of don't believe it now. But if you say it happened, it happened. I'm not going to knock you on that. But, and here's the but. I'm a fine one to judge, but why would you dirty your name with that guy, that booze hound? He's a known troublemaker, even amongst us. Come on, he's such a bad blue blood that even the old prince kept him at arm's distance. For all of his scratching and clawing and double dealing and trying to take out our new prince before he became our prince, you'd expect that guy to be the first person PJ took out. Makes you wonder what sort of dirt he has on the new prince.
Yes, doesn't it? I never even thought about that. But no, I mean, I grew up as an immigrant's child and made something of myself, so who's to say he couldn't turn around his little foibles and problems into something better? I don't know.
What?
But,
You don't know.
That's why I said I'm checking on him.
You really are gonna go and say that he's your friend? Okay, fine. If he's your friend, he's your friend. But you gotta pick better friends, lady. He does nothing for you. I mean, he had a good idea. A slew of bars around the city where kindred can feed in relative peace and pay a little bit toward the bar owner. And you see what he did with them. He drank himself out of business. He fed on the guest. You never shit where you eat. Hell, any of these jackasses here would know that much. You don't piss upstream, because eventually you're going to end up drinking that right back, in the same river and all that. You don't go punching outside of your weight class. Every schoolyard kid knows that. Yet he did all of these things, and he managed to survive, dirtying his name and making the Ventru here in the city look, well, even worse. And you want to claim him for a friend. I wish I had friends like you.
Well, if you keep being nice, maybe we can be friends.
I'm never nothing but nice, even when I slip a blade between your ribs.
I don't know about that. You got to...
Everybody's got to eat.
Catch me first.
Everybody's got to eat. You can't begrudge anybody for getting that meal when they can get it. And as he's talking, Lucia, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your witch plus awareness plus your auspice for me, please?
Will do.
But yeah, Nash was by here like 3-4 days ago. Looking the same flashy, ashy that he always is. Creating a scene because nobody really wants him around. He's already run out of all of his good luck with us. And by us, I mean a certain class of people. A better class of criminal, if you know what I mean. Watching the crowd and listening to the music, Crook's voice kind of blends into the background for you as you look outward past and watching the interactions of the crowd around you. There's always a tell. Everyone has them. And it's not a simple, they look to the left, they look up. No, it's a combination of things that point to certain stressors, certain impetuses. The fact that Crook is out of his hidey hole in the bar is clearly not something that happens too often. People are murmuring amongst themselves. Drinks are nowhere near disappearing as quickly down the gullets as they once were. And you spot the most remarkably over the top, sneaking toward the front door you have ever seen. It is as if someone had never learned how to avoid suspicion, so they were as over the top and stage whispery with their actions as possible. The young lady who leaves is young, fairly fresh-faced, a quarter sleeve of tattoos going from the shoulder down to her elbow. The dress, the sort of thing you find off-rack at Target during the summer. Clearly too light for this time of year. Her pale skin standing out, not because the place is not, in fact, mostly filled with far too many kindred, but by the fact that it is still a hint of sun on it. There's still a bit of freshness and vitality to her, letting you know that unlike the other pale entities hanging around here and there, sticking to the shadows by and large, she is very much one of the human patrons. And as she's leaving, instead of her phone being up to her ear and the glow reflecting off the side of her face, it is down by her thigh. And the camera is clearly on. You can tell by the dim glow of her light there next to the camera lens. Now, normally that light is bright because that's where the flash is, but there is a way to adjust that light so that only enough of it shows to make the picture stand out clear. It's typically the setting that when it's on a video setting, as if someone's recording, it has. When the flash isn't bright enough to light the room, but just enough to light the subject, as if it's being done to avoid as much notice as possible. And as she leaves in her skulky, over-the-top manner, she furtively glances back towards where you all are sitting talking with Crook, and she eases out into the cold Chicago night air, sans jacket.
So Lucio, with his phone in his pocket, he's going to casually flip on the vibrate mode so that it creates a vibration. And then he's actually going to take out his phone, look at it, and say aloud to everyone, excuse me for a moment, I think I gotta take a call. I'll be right back. And he's gonna, once the girl's out the door, he's going to get up from the table and follow.
Okay.
If something ain't right there.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as to declare high or low?
High?
And even or odd?
Odd?
All right. Let's see what fate has in store for you, my dear friend. Well, now.
Well, it was odd.
Yes, it was odd. But it was low. Low odd. So as you stand on the table and excuse yourself because you have a phone call with your phone having just vibrated, it actually played along. It actually went along with the ruse. As you stand up and begin moving toward the door, it rings. It rings in that annoying klaxon that you had Arsenio delete from your rows of potential ringtones. But there it goes, and it grows in annoyance and refuses to shut off as Stella is calling. And it's going off in that annoying klaxon where the volume keeps raising higher and higher. And for our lovely Lucio, who has heightened senses up, it is instant migraine. Each chiming of that annoying electronic buzz and warning. And would everyone else at the table be so kind as to roll a wits and awareness for me, please? Your DC is, this is a one-time pass or fail. Your DC is 3. Miri?
Yeah. I was trying to figure out where my sheet went.
Well, you know, they do disappear. I had my Adobe Reader stuck on the book that I had closed 2 weeks ago, and every time I open up the reader, it brings it back up for some strange reason.
Sounds about right. Oblivious.
Well, oblivious to some, but there is a facet to Crooks that never quite makes the rounds, and that's the fact that despite his relatively lowbrow sense of taste and decor and design, and his inability to hire staff that does not get drove on the clock, and his penchant for associating with the criminally minded, he actually is a fairly straight shooter when it comes to things, which is odd in the world of Kindred. It sets him as an outsider, sets him as an odd bird, a fish out of water, as it were. And sitting this close to him and looking him in the relative eye, or the space where his eyes should be, That's the clearest thing. You have never met an honest liar before, but if there was any description that would actually amount to what he was, it would be that. He has more than once said that he's willing to stab someone with a blade. And there was no lie or hint of propping himself up or puffing himself up to be more than what he was. He has clearly said that he has no problem lying when it's needed, which is remarkably more honest than most people you have ever run across. Everyone lies, everyone makes small things, but they always say, I'm honest, I really mean no. Having someone clearly and directly put down their faults as just matter of fact and accept them is a refreshing bit of unbelievability. And while that is ciphering through mirrors, Silvio, Sophia, and Hestia, while Lucio is leaving with his migraine, with each klaxon sounding louder and bouncing off the walls and others, they realize that he is not the only one who has heightened senses and was listening to other places they were not physically in the bar, because there are people who were grabbing the bridges of their nose, some outright put their hands over their face and push as hard as they can to try to stop. Others pull their hoods up higher. Some actually take out the earbuds that were in their ears because, well, that was just camouflage for what they were really doing. And you see about 5 faces purposely try to turn away from you all as the klaxon goes off, and they all but have their heads split open with resounding alarm.
Hestia is gonna mark faces in her head. She's got a pretty good memory with the whole studying for years and years. So she's marking faces.
You dirty sons of eavesdropping sons of mother.
Oh, and the closest one she's gonna give a to.
He is a clearly from a bottle. At least that would be the initial impression. But it's such a weird, bright, over-the-top mixture of reddish blonde, and actual blonde that there's no other way to describe him except for a strawberry-headed individual. Not a redhead. His head looks like a strawberry that hasn't quite ripened or slightly over-ripened, as the case may be, because it goes from various shades of red to the brightest, deepest, darkest portion of it near the nape of his neck. He turns his head, and when he does, you see that the mutton chops match his hair. It looks very much as if someone took a strawberry and mushed it onto the top of his head. His pale skin not denoting anything except for perhaps his Irish or Scottish heritage, but the hair, oh God, the hair. It looks as close to a helmet as anything that is even remotely at one point alive could be. As if he has moosed and styled and held it with gel to the point that it would probably be water resistant. While outside with the klaxon going up, because unfortunately your phone has chosen this moment to be a disruptive, disobedient piece of technology. And to make matters worse, it answers for you as you're trying to stop the alarm from going off. And you hear Stella, and every other word is being broken and garbled by your phone, which chooses now for its meltdown. The vibrator's on, the klaxon is going off. The sound is impartial, breaking up every few seconds. Every word is purposely being broken by your phone throwing a hissy fit. And to make matters worse, the camera, the video from her side is frozen with her mouth open, looking as ridiculously perverse as you possibly can. Mid-word, it froze with her mouth open just wide enough to see her tonsils. And you can tell that she's been eating something blue. And while that comedy of mishaps is happening, because if it happened to anyone else, Lucia would die laughing. But in this moment, it's horribly 100% uncalled for. And if there was a way for you to punish your phone, you would definitely execute it right about now. The girl, however, is oblivious, as most people are. The noise of the street and the passing bus, the sound of people yelling down the alley, and the sheer fact that she's out here without a coat and trembling and shaking from the frost in the air, she's with her back to the door, with her mind wholly focused on her phone, holding a conversation. But because it is cold, she can't hold the phone to her ear. She has the phone in front of her with the front-facing camera on, showing who she's speaking with. If you were a college-age child, there would be nothing more romantic than seeing a man who looked as if he belonged in the time of high seas adventure. His hair still looking windswept and with a touch of salt from the ocean around him. His shirt open far enough that you can see that he is in fact, at that time in life, a very virile man. The hair full and voluminous. The shirt so sparklingly white as if it is in fact neon. And the smoke behind him, the flashing lights denoting that he is in a club somewhere. Oh, love, thank you so very much for giving me a heads up. I told you they'd be back. Now, here's what I need you to do. You need to go inside, get as close as you can, get a picture of them. Those folks are no friends of mine. You need to keep an eye and make sure you stay safe. After all, you are a special friend of mine.
So has she seen Lucio yet, or does he think that he's been seen?
You know, from that angle, it wouldn't be hard if she turns a hair to the left or a hair to the right, moving the phone in either direction. You are by the door, your klaxon is going off, and your sister is trying to hold a conversation with you.
And the phone's still going nuts, right?
Yeah.
Still, I'm gonna have to call you back. Signal's awful here.
Click. And your phone goes silent. No more noise. No more vibration. Nothing.
Thought crosses Lucio. How the fuck does any other La Sombra deal with this? He pockets the phone and returns his attention to his quarry.
Well, just true as I said, I'll meet you at the condo later. I've got a few more business deals to make for the evening, but you've got the key. You know where it is. I'll see you there before morning's light. And remember, wear that lovely... Oh, you're already wearing it. That's always a good thing. I'll see you there. Make sure you give my love to your mother. And she ends the call, turning around, shivering, her cheeks a blush with the blood which is attempting to warm her and failing, and her eyes meet yours. Trying to have a phone call? She storms past you back into the bar. You think
Lucio's gonna try and speak up. Phone call with a Irishman?
What are you, a stalker?
No, but I was actually hoping to speak with him. He's an old friend.
I don't think so. And she looks you up and down as if she can measure your worth by her recollection of name brands, which you are not wearing. No, I don't think so. Excuse me.
Here, how about you just forget what he just said? And Lucio's gonna, as soon as he says forget, he's gonna use cloud memory.
All right. Well, Lucio hasn't practiced the skill all that often. He has learned the ability to reach into another's mind and move things and push. There's usually some resistance. And as such, he's prepared for it. And it not being there almost sends him ass over kettle with the lack of resistance. It is akin to knowing that there should be a force enough to at least hold you up and finding that there is nothing there. It's all painted in fakery. The wall is made out of rice paper. The door, onion skin. And the alarm system are 3 Legos stacked on top of one another to resemble what an approximation of a toy camera might look like. Her eyes blink as you would normally be able to see a clouding over of thought. A misstep. People understand that there's something missing or something changed, but they can't figure out what it is. Instead, she blinks and rubs her eye. Excuse me, can I get inside? It's cold out here.
Yeah, sure. I was wondering why you came out here in the first place. You were not exactly dressed for the weather. Did you need a coat?
I don't need a coat. I have a coat. Just a quick phone call. Why are you all up in my business?
I don't know. You were the one who approached me. Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I trying to make a call to my good boyfriend. Look, I have a boyfriend. Well, he's actually probably going to be my fiance tonight, but we're going to work that out. And thank you for your congratulations. As if you could ever be kind. I don't know what I potentially saw in you. I suppose the hair is nice, but I didn't mean to lead you on. I have a fiance, and we're going to be married in the spring, probably.
Yeah, you mentioned something about that already. Nash, right?
You know Walty. Why did you say that?
Yeah, he and I are good friends. We're actually trying to plan another meetup with him recently.
Well, he's busy. He's got those business deals with the buildings that he's buying over there in the south side. He's, what was that club? I think it's Red No or the Buddha Lounge or no, it's tonight. He's at the apartment. You should already know this. He keeps his calendar up on the Google.
How about we give him a surprise visit tonight? Sound good?
No, I don't want to ruin my surprise. I know that he's going to propose tonight. I know that we're going to... And she pauses and frowns as if the trains of thought have crashed together and there's a spark. A flash of insight. She's oversharing. Her mother always says that she does. People really don't need to know what you had for lunch, Beth Ann. People don't need to know how that affected your stomach, Beth Ann. People really don't need to know why your car has died, Beth Ann. It was your own idea to put diesel into the engine because it was cheaper. People don't need to know that you stopped smoking because of your reliance on enemas, Beth Ann. And as she relives all of the moments of her mother telling her she's oversharing, she frowns and she looks into Lucio's eyes and realizes that perhaps her thoughts weren't as pure as she thought, because there would be only one reason why she would have accidentally, potentially made out with Walty's friend or business associate, whatever he is. She still thinks that Walty might be a switch hitter, but you know, it's 2021. That's to be expected. He's a handsome man, you know, and he's a lovely preserved man, considering it, you know, not many, you know, 30-year-olds can look as handsome as he does without the use of products. I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to use the bathroom. Why don't you get us a cab and I'll take you back to the condo?
Sounds pretty good to me.
I probably shouldn't have had that Chipotle earlier. The patties and the Chipotle are not agreeing with me. But I'll be out really soon. Take your time, let me like 10 minutes and then try to get the cab. They're pretty quick over here.
Works for me. Although I think maybe we could just... I think we might have a car somewhere. We could probably just go ourselves. Save some money.
I'm not gonna fuck you. I don't know whatever I said. I wasn't joking. I don't mind giving you a hand job, but I wouldn't fuck you because tonight I'm gonna become a fiance to Walty. So let's get a cab so that we can stay in public, because I don't do anything in public that could be put on video anymore. So I need to go take a dump. I need to go use the bathroom, and I'll be right back.
Understood. When she goes inside, like, Lucio's gonna wait a few moments and then go back to the table.
So I know you got the friend. You say you're friends with Nash, but like I said, he's been here the last time a couple of days ago.
Sorry. Okay. Looking at him. Okay, well, I'm just curious. We'll sure probably run into him at some point later, or eventually. If he's not allowed here anymore, though, we won't come back looking for him here, if that'll help.
Hey, you know, I don't mind. Money's money. I don't really care. It's just, I thought you guys as hounds, and especially all the things I hear about you guys, you'd have a better quality of associate.
Well, it's more like friend of a friend.
Oh, that hot blonde that was with you last time? She's his friend? Now that I see. She's definitely his type. Young, stupid looking, clearly willing to go.
Oh, hey, that's not nice.
It's not saying what's in the book. It's saying what his type is. He likes them young. He likes them looking easy. He likes them as empty-headed as possible so he can be this dashing hero. And she definitely looked the sort. Like bright, blonde, easy on the eyes, really slim, and looks young enough to be, even if he was alive, looks young enough to be his daughter. Kind of like you, but a light version.
Yeah, I can see it. Okay, you got me there. I can see that. And how that would be a thing for him. Now that you brought all this up, I'm starting to wonder. Thank you for saving me.
What are you talking about? I didn't save anybody. Not my business, really. The information, that's my business. Speaking of which, why do you really want to know? Why do you really want to find Nash? We're going to be honest with each other. I can make a few dollars off of whatever it is you might have in mind. I might be able to find someone who can help you even more. Is he one of your elders you guys are going to kill?
We didn't kill anybody.
Really? I know on good authority that you all were there at Brett Stryker's party when 2 former Primogen were killed or disappeared. Elatrea and Urzuli's redhead child, the big buxom southern girl, disappeared right off the map. And then I hear that that same party you all used attacking Newberry as your cover for making those 2 disappear. Then I have it on good authority that you were there the night that Urzuli was saved from a werewolf and the Toreador Primogen of Dalton disappeared. You guys got a thing against Toreador, don't you? You can tell me. I've already made some money off of it. I'll split it with you if I can. But I need the real scoop.
Doesn't everyone have a thing against Toreador?
Find him.
No. Okay, so sorry, disconnected. The thing is, though, your good authority is apparently full of shit because they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, Bright Striker, the party thing. Did y'all not hear about the whole helicopters and kind law enforcement busting in? Like, did y'all not know about that whole situation? Who would stay around for that kind of crap? Please tell me.
So it was true. The government did cover up. That's the reason why the cell signal went out that night. Why they were reporting power outages all over that corner of the North Shore. Thank you for confirming it. I knew nobody else would, except for maybe somebody on the outs that could hang out with a criminal like Nash. And you all just made me a very happy person.
Now that I've given you a favor, what are you going to give me in return?
I only got my word and my balls, and I don't give my word away for nothing. So what do you want?
You two.
And as he speaks, he absently drinks from the tidy bowl.
She's trying to keep her straight face at watching that, because part of her, I don't know, it's like the combination of all that is very much like to her, so she just keeps a straight face. The fact that you just found that out, I need you to not where that came from.
Find out what came from.
Exactly that. Does Heskey notice that Lucio's come back in?
Yes, he's walking in now.
She looks towards Lucio with a question mark in her eyebrow way. What's up?
Oh, nothing. I think I just found an old friend.
Cool.
You guys and your friends.
Well, when you're like this old, you got a lot of old friends because it's just how it works, I guess. But yeah, so that is what I want for that. But also, I know a lot of the people who have heard who we're looking for. Can we not tell him that we're looking for him?
I don't talk to the guy much anymore. He's upset that I made these places more profitable than they ever were under his ownership.
Yeah, but a lot of people in here have been drinking, and liquor opens up your lips to flapping.
There's a joke somewhere in there. He takes a sip of the tidy bowl again, catching a bit of the candy floating around in it and munching and crunching. So I'll do my best. I'll put the word out that you guys are relatively safe. And I'll make sure you guys get some drink tickets for your visit tonight.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Smiled, but then she's like looking at Lucio like, let's go.
Oh, but we have someone who's gonna take us to Nash.
I don't wanna. I'd rather meet him on neutral ground. If it's possible, if we know where he is before now. I don't know. This feels weird. Going to where he is, or where he might be later. Are they there now? Like, because if they're here, whoever's gonna take us, then he's probably not there.
Well, apparently he's at, I don't know where the sneaking out earlier is. I'm guessing she's the next victim.
Do we know what the apartment is? Is it a club or an apartment?
Oh no, it's a fetish club. It is on Ohio and LaSalle, basically.
So Hestia's been there because that's her typical feeding ground sort of situation. She looks at Lucia. No, it's a club.
Oh, they just called a club the apartment?
Yeah, because that's what they do with that specific club, but kind of needs to be low-key.
What kind of name is that? And looks to the other two, like, I'm sorry, but like, the apartment? Come on, there has to be a better name for it than that, right?
Well, they can't call it Get Your Ass Beat Club.
Oh.
Like calling a bar the library so that college students can tell their friends they're going to the library to study.
Miriam, Hestia points her nose like Miriam, like, yeah, that's...
The Yankees do strange things, I don't know.
Well, if we already know where this is, then I guess we don't need her, so shall we head on over?
She'll think us later, when she's not dead.
She could make a good leverage, perhaps.
Leverage how?
Clearly she knows things about him.
I don't know how much. She's not exactly...
Any amount can be useful if it's used properly.
Well, do you want to go talk with her? She's in the bathroom, apparently.
I mean, no, but I will.
Probably a good excuse to get out of this scene, since, let's be clear, you're a fish out of water here.
Perhaps it's, so do we want the girl or no want the girl?
Insurance?
Do we need her? Or do we just need her?
mean, I am a bit peckish, but that is not good for anyone. And maybe not in the back of the car.
He's in the bathroom. I'll be right back. I will get up and I will go to the bathroom.
Do you have heightened senses?
I do not.
Okay. Do you have blush of life on?
I do not.
Okay. Well, there's certain benefits that inherently are part of being blushed. There are certain aspects that help with the invisibility of the predator to hide amongst the prey. Without rousing the blood to blush upon close proximity to anything actually human or anything actually living, your undead state is fairly clear and very difficult to ignore. Luckily, most humans, instead of responding as they should to a undead monstrosity being close enough to touch them, will attempt to be polite. They will attempt to ignore the clear ailment or drug use that is rife within that person. The benefit for the kindred to being unblushed means that they don't inhale, they don't need to breathe. They are immune to most vicissitudes of scent. And even unroused and unblushed, opening the door to the women's room, Mary understands why there's no line. Mary understands why being dead has its benefits and uses. There's a wet, sickening splop, plop, plop, plop that seems to go on far longer than it should, with a brief intermission for heavy breathing, followed by further wet, sploshy plops coming from the one stall in the women's restroom. The other toilet, the doors and walls have been removed from around it so that whoever uses that commode will be visible to anyone and everyone who opened the door. But the stench, the scent, the pleasant odoriferous bouquet amassing in the restroom is enough to have even her undead nostrils heated, not fully singed and burned as they would be if she blushed, but very, very close.
My dear, it seems like you're risking dehydration.
No, I had Chipotle. I know I shouldn't have, but that's why I didn't wear any panties so I wouldn't stain them.
That is a wise decision.
And this is the night I'm going to become a white fiance at least. Give me a second. I'm almost done.
Oh, take your time. You don't want anything marring your festivities tonight.
The resounding flashes and plops is enough to make Mary feel dirty by proximity. She's clear and sure that if the person in the stall isn't sufficiently wide enough of frame, that the splatters are surely coating the ceiling and the various other places within 15 feet of that stall. And a moment later, all too far later, as time is in fact relative, and listening to the music of gobbets and bits flashing down is no one's idea of comfort, no one's idea of a time well spent. But a moment later, they cease. The grunting and pushing has stopped, and all is temporarily right with the world as things are silent. And then you hear the toilet paper dispenser. There's a sound that every person fears when using the restroom, and that's the paper running out before you have fully cleaned or approximately cleaned yourself. And 2 turns, and that annoying soft tear of that last square of paper found. You hear a smacking of lips. And and then the door opens. She steps out, moving to wash her hands. I'm sorry, maybe you can light a match. I really shouldn't be eating Chipotle. I was vegan for 2 years. Well, mostly 2 years. I did have my cheat days, but only with fish. Because, fish are ugly anyway, right? And
Vegetarianism is a perfectly valid lifestyle choice.
Yeah, but no, I'm not a fish eater. You're cool and all, but
No, not that kind of fish. Like seafood. Like fish, shrimp, tuna.
oh no, I'm allergic to shrimp. And tuna tastes nasty. I only eat salmon. Well, my mom says it's salmon. It's probably something else. You know how they mislabel everything at the grocery store?
I do. Terrible, they shouldn't do that. There ought to be a law.
And she sits down the ugliest clutch that you've ever seen, opening it to reveal nothing but small packets of powdery substances and one blush which has clearly been hand refilled, and she starts applying it to her lips as she stares into the mirror.
So tell me about this fiancé of yours.
My fiance? You know Walty too? That tall, handsome guy, he knows Walty. I know I shouldn't be saying stuff like that, but he is kind of handsome in a dirty way. And I think that, as a woman about to take herself off the market, I owe myself to at least have a little fun, right? I'm not gonna go all the way or anything. I wouldn't blow up in the cab, but I'd definitely do a hand job.
Oh no, absolutely. Knock yourself out. I'm sure that Walty would not mind at all.
No, I think Walter likes guys too. He won't admit it, but I've seen him come back with all these little scratches, and girls' fingers aren't that far apart. That definitely was a guy, but it's just.
So I see. You're going to bring our dear friend back as an engagement present.
No, I don't want to see it. At least not in person. I don't mind the videos. I like the videos sometimes, but not in person. And I'm not sure if Walty's breedable. He's too soft sometimes. He has a hard time getting it up, but I still enjoy myself,
Oh yeah. No, I was just saying maybe you could be involved.
I think maybe. Do you think that might be the reason why he can't get it up all the time?
Might be.
I knew I should have brought that strap on. Oh shit, I have a cab. It's nice meeting you.
No, here, let me walk you out. And I will walk out of the restroom.
And while that conversation
my arm like good friends.
She will clearly take your arm. She clearly loves the attention. There's a mental immaturity that is more than apparent. It feels contagious. You feel as if you have emotionally regressed roughly 10 years in talking with her, and you don't even know her name.
I assume that is her coming out. Can we go now?
Be her.
And she waves as if you two have been friends for God knows how long. It is that childish immaturity that the person you meet, that you exchange any time with, they are suddenly your friend. There's no discerning of their intentions, their heart, their mind, or anything else that they may have about themselves. You met them. They're your friend, whether you know their name or anything else, and that's how she responds.
Hestia leans very close to Lucio and Sophia, whispering so that her voice does not carry. I swear to God, if that's the type of thing that happens when he picks somebody, he deserves to die the most painful death, because that girl is far too stupid.
What are you doing, humanity? Don't think we should judge him too harshly. He's going to take her off the market before she breeds.
Yeah, but it's almost like tossing a kitten overboard to sharks. It's not a good look. Either way, though, we should probably go.
Oh my god, you guys all know each other? Wally told me to look out for you. You're a Hostia, right?
Hestia, like the goddess.
There's a goddess called Hestia. Yeah.
Since you don't particularly like my name very much, what is your name?
Oh, I'm Beth Ann. I thought Walty was breaking up with you already.
Oh, wait, what? He said what now?
About it being over between you two and you don't really matter anymore? Not like that?
Lucio would know, having known Hestia for as long as he had. Now there's real anger. Fist starts to ball, and on 4'8" of her goes tight, and the eye starts to twitch a little bit.
Lucio puts a hand on Hess's shoulder. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, he still loves you. It's just that he thinks that you're too clingy. Like, your last fight left him in such a state. I'm not like most girls. I'm not, like, offended that he kind of likes you. I'm not even bothered that, like, you broke his heart. But I'm a little upset that you guys, clearly still have something going on. And I understand why. Like, he's really handsome. And he can be really loving. So I get why you're a little bothered. But I don't want to seem catty, but he chose me, and I'm going to be Mrs. Nash.
Oh, sweetheart, I will give you away at the wedding if it makes you happy, because she turns and, like, marches for the door.
Yes, I do not want to be, how you say, Sincarius.
Yes, let's get that cab, shall we? Silvio, get the cab.
He's serious. And he just walks out the door.
No, not the cat, you know.
Ew, what's wrong with your dad?
He has anger issues.
It's gotta be something with, like, that whole generation. Like, I was dating this guy back in high school, and he's from that generation, and he always wanted, like, feet play. Ew.
You know what I respect about you, random woman in dirty bar that I have just met? You aim very high.
I do. I've always been a go-getter. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. And here I am. I am very much going to be a wife.
We should all live up to our dreams. Come, let's go get in the cab and we can go see your husband-to-be.
He's going to be so surprised. Like, I was here with my graduating class because we were getting ready to go into our freshman year, and you guys were here, and here I am. I've been in class for 3 months. Well, I was a little late. I was like 2 months late, but that's because I had mono. But we are so happy. Like, all my girlfriends, they wanted to be here tonight, but they got like finals. They didn't call in sick like I did. I don't know what's wrong with them. Why wouldn't they? Anyway, the system is there to be used for us. And if any rule doesn't make you feel happy, you shouldn't justly follow it. Like some old philosopher said that.
Right, yes. Here comes the car now.
Hestia is purposefully riding in the front next to Silvio because she cannot be in the back seat with that girl and not murder her baby.
There are certain moments when mankind redeems itself. There are certain selfless acts that are in and of themselves proof to the potential goodness of all mankind. There are equally monstrous acts that makes the wealth of mankind lesser in the fact that it was possible, that they were successful, and that they were not the first time such instances happened. For those of you who have the unenviable pleasure of riding in the passenger portion of the car with Beth Ann, those of you who have the wherewithal to suffer through the conversation about everything that filters into her mind and does not have a filter between it hitting her lips, you all temporarily are one dot less in your intelligence. The sheer, unmitigated word salad and verbal vomit that flies from her at the least provocation, including the provocation of silence, is nearly unending. It is the most effective torture you all have ever survived. If you could have bribed her with your deepest, darkest secret to have a moment of silence, you would have.
As we are on the way over, I will use compel and tell her to give me her phone.
She freely gives it over. The ease and lack of resistance when subsuming her mind is an effrontery to anything that has conscious thought. There is no defense. There is no wall. There's nothing there to protect anything that she might be against someone who has the ability to reach into her mind.
I will look at it very briefly, and then I will roll down the window and drop it out of the car and say, "Oops, clumsy."
How is dominate one of Sophia's clan disciplines?
Not technically.
Was it one of her starting disciplines? Has she had it for some time?
Yeah, it was one of her starting disciplines.
Would you be so kind as to roll wits plus dominate for me, please? even in the summation of an animal's intellect, there's resistance. Even in the subsummation of someone who has developmental issues, there's a resistance. The only time that you don't have any resistance, where there's no push back when subsuming someone else's intellect and their conscious thoughts, is when they have been brutalized by the ability to do so. When they've been exposed to and beaten so thoroughly by the weight of someone else's mind, they no longer have the ability or elasticity to arrange defense.
I will say loudly, or loud enough for Hestia to hear me in the front, in Latin, hoping that she understands it since she's of an occult, scholarly nature, that this girl has been conditioned.
Oh my God, that was so pretty. What was that, French? I always wanted to learn French, but the only thing that my parents let me watch was Caillou, and so I kind of know Chinese. Ni hao mama.
Next time I go, I will take you with me. How does that sound?
Oh, I would love a girls' trip to France or somewhere else in Paris. It's such a beautiful place. I heard they have museums that stay open almost all night, and the people, instead of like having like regular sandwich bread, they have these long loaves of French bread, not the cut kind, but they don't believe in that, but the kind that you have to go to the little corner store with the old lady and they'll trade you for it. They bark for it. It's so cool. How many times have you been there?
More times than you would believe.
Oh no, I believe. I honestly believe. I really believe. Just like when when you have to believe to get Tinkerbell back to life.
Well, this is not important for now. It'll give us something to discuss on the long plane ride over, yes?
It will be so cool. The last time me and my friends, and they couldn't be here today because of like classes and finals. But the last time me and my friends got on a plane, we went down to Miami, but they had a spill at the airport, so we had to go to Pensacola instead. It was so much fun. I mean, the water is so wet. It's a trip, I tell you. And it tastes different too. And the conversation continues. Every thought, every stray hint of a thought, no matter how partial, no matter how incorrect, that filters through her mind, hits her lips, and fills the back of the car with an unending choral of ignorance, lack of thought, immaturity, and then you have the worst things that happen as well. But moments later, you all find yourselves at a 3-story walk-up, a good old-fashioned brownstone, except for it is clear that this building is one of the near original structures from Central Chicago before it expanded, purchasing the villages and towns near at hand, forming what we now know as Chicago as a whole. But this is one of the original Midwestern style business buildings of the time. Brick made locally from the mud in the area of what is now currently Palatine and other south suburban suburbs and villages unto themselves. In fact, the south suburbs were in fact one of the brick making capitals of the Midwest for many years. The clay here in this area of the Midwest has been used throughout much of the Midwest, from Michigan all the way down to portions of Texas. And the this is one of those buildings that was made here. It is as Chicago as you can be. It has survived fires, riots, full-out insurrections, overthrowing of the mayor who was treated as if they were the president of the nation at the time. This is a building that has ghost of ghosts. It has been here long enough and been the foundation of thoughts, fantasies, and ideals that without having to peer across the veil, you can feel that it is resonant and has weight in both sides, both the Shadowlands and the Skinlands. And that weight results in Hestia being so close to her sire and contemplating taking up the study and examination of the ley lines and the dragon nexus points. There's no shadow of a doubt that this place has been and potentially is a small nest of various dragon roads and lines leading to this point. There has been enough life invested in its continued existence and enough death focusing on its perpetuity. For those of you in an occult of 2 or higher, would you be so kind as to roll your intelligence plus occult? Sophia and Hestia share a moment as they can feel the debilitating amounts of energy emanating from the place. Not only is it weighty in the spiritual meaning of the word, there are several 100,000 myths and rumors and legends about what happens to the undead who sleep consistently in places of power such as this. And while most would not immediately assume that there was any truth to them, having been studiers and students of mystic and supernatural, both Hestia and Sophia know that the Coterie as a whole is proof that those myths, those rumors, those gossips, those conjectures are true. Nothing that the Coterie has faced thus far should have been survivable. Nothing that they've dealt with, even within the last few weeks, should have allowed them to continue existing as they are. But being imbued, being possessed of the energies of places of power, the law of averages bends and bell curves in their favor. It would explain why a careless, heedless, demonstrably, potentially outright evil person such as Nash has been able to escape notice, to be a resounding testament that eventually every kindred will be the monster of their own nightmares. And even without a connection to the supernatural, even without an understanding as to what portents such a place holds, the price of living in a place such as this, a stone's throw from downtown, a stone's throw from Nash transit centers, a stone's throw from the financial halls of power of the city, is of significant value that Nash clearly has access to far more financial and mental lucre than any one kindred should. Being able to afford such a place seems improbable for the owner of a board-up company. seems improbable for someone who frequents crooks as their favorite watering hole. Seems improbable for something as carelessly free as Nash has been. Despite its unassuming facade, living here, this close to downtown, is a status symbol all on its own. And Beth Ann is bouncing up and down, moving towards the buzzer box, reaching underneath and removing a key that has been stored for her. Or for whoever knows that it's there. And knowing that you all are about to enter into the center of the spider's web, knowing that there are angels and various other things hanging over your head, watching rapidly as the shelter once more leaps into the breach, once more dares the impossible, once more is willing to challenge, either directly or simply socially, an elder kindred in their own domain. I'd like to thank you all for a lovely session. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Good night, everyone.
Night all.